I don't think that you ever get to decide, you know what, I'm going to be in love today. I do think that love, it can be a choice. You can definitely choose love or you can choose fear, right? But I don't think that when it comes to love, it's something that you can decide to do. I think that it kind of shows up and, some people say it's the right timing. Some people say it's the wrong timing. But I don't think it's anything that you can plan for. You know what I mean? I don't think that you could say, you know what, I'm going to fall in love today. I mean, you technically could, right? You technically could. But I think that it's just one of those things where it's like sometimes you can't help who you love, But I think as you grow and as you get none the wiser, I think that you can kind of sit in a space and recognize like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, do I want to love this person or do I want to sit in this space with this person? Because, man, I just think that overall it's one of those things where it's like love just happens to find you sometimes, and sometimes that's what you need, right? Like sometimes it is for a season and that's definitely what you need. But I don't think that you can ever plan it, and I heard someone say that if it's the right person, it'll be the right time. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel that to an extent, right? Because I feel like sometimes, like I said, just based on the seasons and the way life is supposed to go, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in like that one person specifically, because I definitely think that you can love multiple people. I don't think it has to be like this one perfect person, but I do believe that there is someone for everybody, but I think in order to really achieve that, I think you got to just kind of be one with yourself, and I'm not saying like one with yourself in terms of like you being perfect, because I think a lot of times people think, especially with this working on yourself and self-love and being better and striving to be the quote unquote best version of yourself, I think it to some extent is somewhat of an illusion because, at the end of the day, that's continuous. That's continuous. And I think to try to be something that you're not before you're ready to be that is unfair to your growth and to your journey, and I don't think that is what anybody is created to do, to be perfect. Like, you're never going to be perfect, and that's okay, and I think it's okay to open up the door and to create a space for that and to understand that when it comes to you and, your quote unquote baggage or whatever, whatever you've been through, it did shape you and it made you who you are, and it does impact certain things. But I think that this right here is like the great phenomenon, because I feel as though right now more than ever, so many people are disconnected from that. I know a lot of people are talking about like self-healing and you're recognizing like childhood and inner trauma and all that stuff. But there's a lot of people who walk among us who are in denial about their pain and in denial about the things that they have been through. And some people never face that. Some people die and they wallow in that pride and that, and then there are people who actually do push through that pain. They identify those patterns. And I think those are the game changers. Those are the light makers. Those are the shapeshifters, right? Those are the ones who are really breaking the generational curses. Because I just don't think that, I know it's like common on social media. If anything, I can say it's not even common. It's more so like it's more so like a trendy type thing. It's more so like, this sounds good, right? Being the better version, doing all these things. But I think that so many people are really disconnected from that. So it's not until you can really break through that and let that pain come in and let it transform you and let God work through you, then you can really see like who you really are and what you're really made of. But I think so often we're just kind of conditioned to run from that, right? And we could talk about Blacks and, just even the stereotypic, just insurmountable amount of strength that is depicted on us and that is illustrated in the media and the masses. So we're already kind of seen to have just this armor around us as if we're not human beings, right? So that's another factor. But you got to break that stuff down. I think the moment you break that down, you can really start to love yourself, right? Because you can look in the mirror and say, yeah, this is actually who I am. Like, I'm real authentic in this. Like, yeah, I've been through that and this is who I am, because those things help you identify yourself, and it doesn't define you but it shaped you. And I think if you can recognize it, you can transform it and create a new narrative. And that right there is love, right? Because love is transformative. It liberates, as Maya Angelou once said. I think that love is sacrificial, right? I'm going to sacrifice what I want to do to serve the better humanity of all, right? I'm going to sacrifice my dreams so that my kids can have my time and my attention, and I can give them something I never had so they can grow up to do something better than I did or make better decisions, right? Or I'm going to sacrifice my only son to pay for the sins of humanity and every individual who comes to me, right? So I think that love is definitely sacrificial. And I think that today in the media, it teaches us that love is compromising of yourself and sacrificing yourself and in who you are, right? So that to me, I think is depicted as, disrespect, right? That's depicted as abuse. That's depicted as allowing people to just totally disregard you as a human, as a spirit, as a child of God. Like, that's not love. That's not love. I think that society kind of teaches us that love is also like real tolerant of people who just mistreat us overall. And that's not love. Sacrifice is different when it's rooted in the betterment of something else. You know what I mean? So I think that is just completely different. That's completely different versus what we're taught and what we oftentimes see as the sacrifices that are made. I'm not going to move like this because I know that if I move like this, somebody's life is on the line. Do you see what I'm saying? Or I'm going to sacrifice this dream because I know that this vision that God has given me is purposeful. And I know that this right here is going to help transform the lives of some people that are around me. It's going to impact some people that are around me. And I know that through sacrificing that dream that only served me and my pleasure and my satisfaction, serving these people over here and operating in this gift or pursuing this vision, that's going to come with fulfillment. That's going to come with something that is within, that is going to radiate and permeate and last forever, versus this little bit of moment that I may get for a season or I may get for some time. And, I think that's love, like that's sacrifice, in regards to love. But it's not sacrificing your health, your well-being, your wellness, your mental, your physical health, your emotional health, right? That's not love. That's not love. It's not putting yourself in binds to prove something or buy something or get something or keep something. Do you see what I'm saying? That's not love. That's not the free flowing and pure energy, right? Or I don't even want to say energy. I just want to say that's just not pure love. That's not love. You can't say that someone is your everything in one season and then the next season turn around and be unforgiving and be so cruel and cold and hard towards them. I think that love is something that we throw around, kind of like the word what and the and they and them, right? It's a common phrase, and I don't think that many people know what real love is. Obviously, from a biblical standpoint, love tells us to bear all, endure all, to be patient, and to seek understanding, right? Love is not prideful. It is not boastful. And I think that a lot of times people don't realize what love is and how to actually love. And I've always found myself in situations where it seemed as though I was wishy-washy, right? It seems as though I was going back and forth in my relationships, or I was dibbling and dabbling, right? Like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But when I look back on it, I think that was always the Holy Spirit. And that was always my covering from God and Him keeping me. And even when my emotions would kind of be so far out, right, there was just that discernment in me that was like, hold up, let's wait a minute, right? Because I think that in today's society, we don't have that. And I can't even say today's society. I think it's just in general. And I say that and I reference myself because the point that I'm making is that when it comes to love, I think if you experience God love, you recognize the love God has for you, then you can extend that to others and you can actually love somebody. But I think that if you're somebody who's prideful and you lead with your ego and you lead with your emotions, I don't think you can ever really have real love. I don't think you can ever really sit in that space. I think sometimes for a lot of people, in order to get to the real love, you kind of have to move through the ugly stuff a little bit, and ugly stuff doesn't have to be abuse, and it doesn't have to be tolerance of like disrespect and, someone just flat out abusing you. No, but I think that we all have stuff, right? We all have stuff. We all have a story. We all have experiences. We all have things in which have shaped us and molded our personalities a little bit. And it's definitely distorted our temperament from the one in which God has given us. And so I think when it comes to love, I don't think that people really know what that is or what that looks like, right? We're so tempted by the flashy things. Okay, I love you, but, you put on a little weight. I don't know, right? Okay, I love you, but, if you're going through some things and I got to see your ugly cry, or you're going through some things and you just kind of getting on my nerves and I don't know, right? And so I think when it comes to love, I don't think that most people have true love. And I'm not sure if any people, I'm not going to say you can't find it. I think you can find it, but I think it's after you get through the facade and after you really show up, as your authentic self. And I just think that for myself, because I know who I am and in Christ, and I know how I love, I've always kind of did that 1 foot in, 1 foot out to protect myself, because I know the ways in which society kind of operates and how people operate, and just the common phrases that we throw around, right? For some people, it's a fact and matter of control. For other people, it's fear, right? So it's never really moved by love, right? It's fear, it's control. There's always these underlying intentions, you know what I mean? And these underlying forces in regards to what love is, So I think that true love is just something that's pure, and I think that is something that's rare. And I always say to people, like I said, I'm never one to tolerate disrespect, but I think it's important to understand that, when you see the not so good in a person, you got to know that at some point in your life, you're going to have to sit with you and like what you're not so good stuff. You know what I mean? And I think if you run from that for so long, you run from yourself. And I don't think you'll ever really find a sense of fulfillment, right? Because happiness is contingent upon the circumstances in which we're in or the situations we find ourselves in, right? It's the instant gratification. If you have X, Y, and Z, then you can be happy. But I think fulfillment is something that comes from within. And I think you're never going to find that until you can sit with yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and say, you know what, I'm still worthy. I got to a point in my life where when it came to endings, I've had peace with endings. One being that this was the first time in my life where I was able to sit and recognize, like, okay, hold up. Everybody who comes in my life is not here for a lifetime. Some people who come into my life and it's for me to, maybe share a word of wisdom, or to introduce them to Christ, or to share some love, some enlightenment, right? Share some encouraging words to uplift them, right? To maybe help them with the project, right? Be that missing piece. And then there are some people who come into your life to share some moments of laughter, right? And there's some people who come into your life to help you out of the darkness. And, there are people who come into your life to share that space of light and true love, right? And real kindness and all of that. But I think that is definitely something that is rare. And I don't think that is something that's common. And honestly, I don't think that many people find it in their lifetime, So that's what I think about love. And make sure you guys head over to the subscription service, because we're going to be talking about dating in 2021. I have a lot of opinions that you guys will not rob me of. And I just look forward to sharing those with you. So this was like a little, I don't know what I want to call these. Maybe we can call them quick tips or something like that. Something cool. I'll come up with a cool name. But it'll just be me on here talking to you guys about my opinions in regards to certain things. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope that it touches you, reaches you, and inspires you to move with love and to find out what that is for you outside of society's definitions, outside of the things in which you were taught, right? The things in which you were shown. And okay. Love is not fear. Love is not, I'm going to do this for you so that you stay. Or I'm going to compromise so much of myself so that the pieces fit because I love you. and I want to make this work. Love is not, I'm going to put myself in this position so that you can stay and that you can love me. Love is not something that should be earned, first and foremost. Love is not something that should be earned. Love is not something that, I think that love should be earned to an extent, right? You don't want to just go around trusting your heart with everybody, but I'm talking about, I'm not necessarily fully talking about love in terms of relationships. I'm talking about love in return, in terms of like humanity, but I'm kind of going back and forth. So, be mindful when I say this. And honestly, I think that if you love yourself, then I don't really think we have to focus so much energy on the negative aspects of love and what happens when we give our hearts to the wrong people, right? And what happens when we fall short and we don't guard our hearts. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about that, because I think too often we put too much focus on negativity, honestly, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. So that's not love. Love shouldn't have to be earned, right? I'm not talking about setting boundaries and blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying in general, like if you love someone, then they love you. They love you for you. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be something. You don't have to aspire to do X, Y, and Z to make them love you. That's not love. They don't love you. It's nothing. You know what I mean? That's not love. Love is not performance. Love is not, I'm going to do this for you so I can make you happy. That's not love. I'm going to do this for you because I love you. I'm going to do this for you because I care about you. I'm going to do this for you because to me, you're worthy. To me, you're amazing. To me, I just love you. I love your energy. I love your spirit, right? Like, I love you. Like, that's love.